Nice and quick tonight. We just had the two games. We had the one matinee game that started at noon my time, and I thought, well, I could try doing them separately, but nah. Put them both together. We got 5 games tomorrow, then we got 2 games on Wednesday, and then it's time off. So there's a lot of hockey players who are already in their time off. They won't be returning to action until probably Monday, most of them. Tuesday, some of them. Wednesday, others. Anyways, it's a nice long break. And for those who are fans of these teams and the ones that play tomorrow and Wednesday, the break is put off just a little bit. Okay, first up, Detroit in against Colorado. And honestly, I thought Detroit had a pretty good game. Now, I've talked about this about Ottawa, and I'm going to talk about this with Detroit as well. When you're watching a team lose its way out of the playoffs and lose its way to nowhere near the playoffs, an important thing is work ethic. So, for fans wondering, well, why am I going to watch? Watch for work ethic. I learned that in the 80s. I learned the hard way with the Canucks when they were getting 59 points a year, and they were bad, just bad. And so for me, it was, well, they lost, but the effort's there. And tonight for Detroit, well, this afternoon for Detroit, they lose, but the effort's there. Bertuzzi scores from Larkin at 2:28, and that was on a Zadorov turnover, and that's the first shot. Now, Zadorov would make up for it later on in the game, but kudos to Detroit for capitalizing on that. The Avs pushed to answer right away. The Wings got their second shot at 6 minutes and 10 seconds, at which point the Avs had 6 shots. So this is really all going to be on Jimmy Howard to keep this close. The Avs get a power play. Nemeth takes a second penalty after they kill that one off. 4-minute power play for the Wings follows that. We get a scrum at around 14 minutes and 25 seconds. We didn't really have the nastiness in this game, though, that we had between these teams last year. So I was wondering if we might see some of that. And the answer is no, not really. Hronik had a shot that hit the crossbar, and then the Avs get their turn on a double minor as well. So a lot of power plays in that first period, and Howard denied Jost late in that period, and it's 1-0 after 1 in favor of Detroit. Now, second period, the Wings' problem is they allow back-to-back goals. So they allow that first, and then that second one ends up going in as well. And it happens here. So Kadri scores on that power play just as it's close to ending. Makar and Rantanen get the assists at 1:02. And then a minute and 54 seconds later, Nathan MacKinnon scores from Makar and Rantanen. So, for people wondering when Makar's going to get things going again, he answered today. And it's now. And Cale Makar in this game looked like the Cale Makar we saw early in the year. It's Detroit. It's going to say, well, it's Detroit. It's not a big deal. But it is. For a kid like Cale Makar, to get his confidence back is going to be huge. Howard, I thought, was playing well, and they ruined that strong start by Howard with some iffy defensive play at the start of the second period. Fabry had a break that was denied. The Avs were almost doubling the Wings in shots. There was a 3-on-2. Kadri missed the net during that. And the Avs go back to the power play. So after 2 periods, it's 2-1 Colorado. I'm already thinking, well, I'm really glad that I didn't pick an upset in this one because it's clear that it's not going to happen. All right, so third period, the Avs were flying to start that third period. Kadri would score from Burakovsky and Zadorov at 4:19. Less than a minute later, it's 4-1. Nieto scores from Jost and Graves at 5:12. So Jost, who I've been waiting to see some offense from, he gets a goal and an assist in this one. So good game for him. And Howard was having a good game. I swear he was having a good game up until now. He has no luck when it comes to wins and losses this year. Absolutely miserable win-loss record for Jimmy Howard. Makar then, or not yet. However, less than 2 minutes later, Larkin scores from Bertuzzi and Zadina at 7:02. The Detroit announcer said, and we've got ourselves a game. And I said it loud to the TV, no, we don't. I don't see Detroit being a team that can come back from 3 goals down in the third. And I apologize for that. I just don't see it. Makar had a break, shot it high. And they announced as well that both Green and Nielsen got hurt during this game at some point, and neither of them returned to the game. So those are 2 guys that, I mean, Nielsen, it's highly unlikely that Yzerman would be able to move his contract at the deadline anyways, but Green, you never know. So that's troubling news for a Detroit team that is already fighting it as it is with their record. Graves would score from Burakovsky and Kadri at 13:59 to widen that lead. At 17:57, a little bit of hope for Detroit and Giovanni Smith scoring from Fabry and Larkin. And then they pull the goalie because they're down by 2. Give it a shot. Of course, they're not going to score 2 more in that last 2 minutes. In fact, McKinnon gets the empty netter from Cole and Zadorov at 19 minutes. And if you're going to hit an empty net, hit it from the other side of center, I should say, and rifle it in there. Don't just trickle it in there. Rifle it in there like McKinnon did. So, nice shot by McKinnon, and that's your final score, 6-3 in favor of the Avalanche. 3 stars are Kadri, Makar, and Rantanen. Howard saved 40 out of 45 in the loss. Francouz saved 22 out of 25. Of the goals on Howard, I thought most of them were pretty good. Of the goals on Francouz, I thought there was maybe one that was a little bit leaky. That being said, the shots in this game favored Colorado the whole way through. 18-12 in the first, 16-7 in the second, 12-6 in the third. Final shots are 46-25 in favor of the Colorado Avalanche. I mistakenly put 26. That should be 46. Power plays 0 for 2 for Detroit. 1 for 5 for the Colorado Avalanche. 1 for 5. So, yeah, pretty decent result for them. Moving along. Minnesota wore the jersey this morning. Florida fans said in the comments, yeah, you're pretty good wearing a Minnesota jersey because Minnesota always wins at home against Florida. I think they said Florida's only won once there. Well, it happened. And it didn't look like it would. And at the very least, it looked like this one was going to go to overtime. And it didn't. And so we again look at a team losing a potential point at the very least. And in Minnesota's case, you can't afford to lose that potential point. So for Florida, the shots were 3-1 in favor of the Wild early. However, Yandel scored from Hoffman and Vetrano at 4:01 on their second shot. And this was the story of this game, where the goals weren't necessarily scored by the team that had momentum, and it was kind of weird that way, where a team would have momentum and scoring opportunities, and then the puck goes the other way, and that one's in the net. The Wild got a power play. They wouldn't score on it, but the shots were 7-2 in favor of the Wild at the halfway mark. Bobrovsky, pretty strong start for him. His numbers by the end aren't great, but he had a pretty strong start. Stalock denied the Panthers at 13:30. There was a late push by the Wild, which led to a power play. On said power play, Spurgeon scores from Stahl and Suter at 19:43. It's 1-1. So we go into the second period, tied. Second period, some back and forth action taking place until Barkov scores from Brown and Yandel at 7:28. And at this point, you notice the Wild are ahead in shots by a lot, and yet the Panthers are up in the score. So Stalock didn't have a fantastic game either. There were a couple of goals I thought I probably should have had that. The Panthers get a power play. On said power play, Cunnin with a nice shorthanded goal, assisted by Eriksson Ek and Brodin at 10:59. So that ties the game up, and that would be a theme through this game where you score one, I score one, you score one. Yeah. Important goal, I thought, for a momentum swing because, again, the momentum was all in favor of Florida. They get a goal, and they have the play so that they get the power play, and then Minnesota gets the goal out of it. So, weird game. Stahl had a break. He shot it high and wide, and the shots were evening up. Bobrovsky denied Cunnin late in that period, so we go into the third with a tie game. The Panthers get an early power play. On said power play, Dadonov scores from Yandel and Barkov at 2:02. I'm going to throw out there Keith Yandel as my honorary star of the night. I shouldn't have one when there's only 2 games, but Keith Yandel with a goal and 2 assists. Yeah, he's 3 assists. That's right, goal and 3 assists. He's not in the 3 stars. I swear Vegas had nothing to do with these stars tonight. The Wild did get a power play shortly thereafter. Zach Parise scores from Spurgeon and Suter at 4:19, and this one looked like it was just going to be last shot wins, which it kind of became at the end. So that was kind of true. Cunnin would score his second of the game from Eriksson Ek and Foligno at 7:06. Really smart play by Foligno, and gets the puck to Eriksson Ek. Nice pass by Eriksson Ek, and Cunnin hits the back of the net. The Wild then got another power play. They don't score on that one. And then the Florida Panthers get a goal that I thought Stalock should have had. Trocheck, it's a 5-hole goal. When you see it go through the 5-hole like that, you kind of think, it's a nice goal for Trocheck, but it's probably one that Stalock should have stopped. Strawman and Yandel with the assists at 15:52. And then 5 seconds left in the game, as I'm getting ready to write OT on the board, Achari with a double deflection. So Pesek shoots it from the blue line. It deflects off Ekblad's stick, and then it deflects off Achari's at 19:55 into the back of the net. Stalock had no chance. That puck changed directions twice. So with 5 seconds left, and you could see the guys on the Minnesota bench throwing their water bottles when that one went in. Don't blame them. That's frustrating. And then they reviewed it. And they reviewed it and said, yep, no, the stick used by Acciari was below the bar. So this is an absolute heartbreaker if you're the Minnesota Wild. They don't get a point. For Florida, 2 points. And a fan base that wouldn't be happy with this result is Toronto fans, because now they're 2 points behind the Florida Panthers. And for Florida, they get a little bit closer to Tampa, and they do widen their lead over the teams that aren't in the playoffs. 3 stars for tonight are Acciari, Cunnin, and Spurgeon. So they lost in regulation, and they get 2 of the 3 stars. I would say probably not. Although I understand Spurgeon getting a star for how well he played in this, I would argue that Keith Yandle with 4 points deserved to be one of the 3 stars. That's my only quibble with this. Bobrovsky saves 29 out of 33 in the victory. Stalock saves 20 out of 25 in the loss. Shots 16-7 in the first in favor of Minnesota, 9-7 Florida in the second, 13-9 Minnesota in the third. Final shots 33-25 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. Power plays 1 for 2 for Florida, 2 for 4 for the Minnesota Wild. But for Florida, it's one of those rare victories in Minnesota. Nicely done. And you guys are caught up. Like I said, there's 5 games tomorrow. I will do that preview tomorrow morning. And we'll see how some teams go into the break, including a game tomorrow night between Vegas and Boston that I think could be a very, very close game between 2 teams that want to go into the break on a winning note. And for Vegas, if they win that, they can be the number 1 team in their division. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. We're done for another day. And I will talk to you again tomorrow.